So we know that public speaking skills are linked to students' academic, career, and social success. But the problem has always been that the majority of people report being afraid of public speaking. Now, SpeechDojo was started and to this day exists to fill that gap. It started on May 5th, 2018, with a public speaking workshop at the Jamie Platz YMCA. Now, after this workshop, Ebun joined our team, and we were able to grow further from there.
Yeah, so Armaan called me, we had a conversation, and we said, what are we really gonna do with this organization? And we kind of had two main ideas that we wanted to run with. We wanted to do something physical that was similar to the debate clubs that we were familiar with, but obviously more accessible. And then we also wanted to do something online to achieve like even greater accessibility and kind of scale and be able to like really expand our impact. Honestly, because I was so used to the traditional speech and debate environment of like tournaments and debate clubs run by schools, I couldn't really think beyond that initially. So I envisioned essentially debate clubs that were unassociated with schools, but were just accessible to anyone everywhere, all over the world. So they were getting the same training that I had gotten, but not restricted by the school that they happened to go to.
Yeah, I agree. I think really the vision was to fill that gap, the gap that many students didn't have access to public speaking training, but really needed it to thrive, especially in the future of work, in their academics, and in their careers. And so the vision really was to say, how can we make public speaking fun? How can we make public speaking accessible, easy, and do this at scale across our communities? So we did two things. The first thing we did is we launched an online course building project to create a self-paced online course for students to take anywhere from their homes or anywhere around the world. And the second project we did was start working directly with schools in Edmonton. And Ebun can talk about this because this is something that she led.
Absolutely. So we kind of had to take stock of this, debate program we'd been running internationally and think about how we could make it happen here. And so we met with the principal of a school that we were both familiar with from our time in high school and pitched her this idea for a program. And she actually helped us refine it into what it turned out to be today and let us go into one of her grade 6 classes, virtually, of course, because it was still the pandemic, and deliver a lesson about public speaking once a week for multiple weeks. And that was, I think, the foundation of a lot of what SpeechDojo has grown into becoming. And so we took that, made it into 2 classes that year. The next year, multiplied that into 18, and the year after that into 35. And I think that there is no limit for the potential for growth in terms of the number of classes that we can reach, in terms of the number of students that we can help with that really in-depth form of training. And it's been such a rewarding experience, not only for, I think, the teachers who see their students improving, who see their students becoming more confident, but also for the instructors that are involved in like bringing these skills to the students. They have so much joy. Watching the kids get really excited about the games and the activities and the debates and really getting into it and like getting excited about public speaking and learning and improving and becoming better. And I think it makes everyone on the team feel that they've really done something useful, meaningful, rewarding, something that matters.
Classroom started in just like one class, and it was just me and Ebun like making it as we went, and then from there we were just slowly adding like one class at a time, and like it was just exponential. And now I think we're in like 40 classes, and next year we're like aiming for 50. So the growth and just getting to be a part of that and setting like vision with everyone has been really exciting.
At that time, I believe we were only in 2 classes, and as we were going, I remember the very first class I taught was with Caitlin, and we were sort of creating the lessons a little bit as we like went through the program. We were talking about where SpeechDojo is going, and we started off like quite small, honestly, and it was very exciting to see that we went from just those 2 classes to the number that we're in right now, which is I think like 35 this year.
It definitely comes hand in hand with like building trust with like the instructor. I think that's something we realized pretty early on, that like we really have to start building relationships with our classes first before we can kind of expect them to trust us and be willing to like learn from us. But seeing the growth in classes, I guess like the beginning of the year, a lot of them like are kind of sometimes scared to volunteer or don't always like participate in activities, or maybe the way they participate in activities too like slowly shifts. And at the end of our program, we have all the students like do a speech and present that. It's like typically 2 minutes. So I think for like someone who's like 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, like doing a 2-minute speech is like so impressive. And some of them, like hearing from my instructors now, are like doing fleshed out debates and like really high level arguments for like grade 6. So it's pretty crazy to see like the improvement when you give people like skills and tools, and if they're willing, like they really take that and run. So yeah.
I think what motivates me the most at SpeechDojo is the impact that you can see on the children that you're teaching. You start a class off with a bunch of students who are, either very socially anxious or they don't have a lot of public speaking skills, but you see their skills develop as you teach them specific lessons. And by the end of it, when you can see that you've had, such a large impact on a community in a relatively small manner of time, it makes me extremely motivated to continue because I can see that my work that I'm putting in is having a positive impact on those around me.
And simultaneously, as the classroom program was growing, we also grew our team and grew the number of programs we had. We launched a social media, basically strategy to go and say, how can we teach students public speaking through social media posts? And to this day, we've gotten millions of views across our videos and posts. At the same time, our online course came out that soon became 3 online courses. It's now being gamified and being implemented in high school and junior high classes across Alberta. And so it's been a really rewarding journey to see how can we go and reach students across every touch point we can, whether in the classroom, outside the classroom, at home, on social media, to give them the skills they need at the moment they're in their lives.
And Armaan asked me to join to do the marketing for SpeechDojo to promote SpeechDojo's overall programming. So at the time, we had just kind of started developing the idea of what a SpeechDojo club, or what's now known as SpeechDojo classroom. So we were really trying to get SpeechDojo into the minds of just people in Edmonton and people in our school district.
I think mainly because our mission is to be able to teach students around the world skills for free without having to pay for all these classes and coaches and all those things. I think the power of social media is that it is free and it's so reachable to so many areas around the world with minimal effort. And so to be able to use that to our advantage and be able to teach students around the world how to just learn, because personally I've learned about so many resources through TikTok and Instagram, this is a free resource you can use for studying or things like that. So I think being able to use that to our advantage and teach students that these are some skills you can use for presentations, interviews, references, and all those things, I think was definitely what motivated me to join SpeechDojo.
And from marketing, we started to develop the idea of having SpeechDojo's online courses. And so I led the team along with Josh to develop those online courses. So the writing, putting together the team that eventually filmed and produced all of the online courses, and then also editing them as well. After that time in marketing, I started to feel like my skills could be better used elsewhere. And so I turned to developing the team that would promote the online courses in schools. So while the marketing team would continue to promote the online courses to individuals, I would go into schools and speak with teachers to see if we could actually make this product work in a classroom setting.
Originally what we were doing was the concept of SpeechDojo. One of the first projects that we had was we wanted to build an online course, but the team didn't have anybody to film the online course, so actually be the talking instructor. So that was my first role at SpeechDojo. I was the instructor of the online course that we have, which is still up at the SpeechDojo website if you ever want to check it out. But yeah, I joined as a SpeechDojo instructor and really fell in love with the mission of making public speaking accessible. It was just this one skill that I saw was so critical in my life, having done debate and different public speaking things in junior high and high school. And I saw that we really had this chance to make a real impact on the students around us in our community, but also around Canada. And that's how I joined, and then took on a bunch of different roles from there, made a lot of amazing friends, and learned a lot in the process. Most recently working with the development team, where we were building a gamified online course for teachers to use in their classrooms with schools. And this fall, it's actually really exciting. We're launching most of those classes. We have about 7 classes lined up to launch our online courses in the fall semester.
It was really nice to meet with the team in this time and plan for a future that could be hybrid. I think there is definitely a huge need for teachers and students who don't have access to, aren't able to get to somewhere as easily, and to be able to learn from their own homes is something that's we found very valuable. And so it's been a great experience learning how to set in different ideas that would be able to accommodate for different groups of people, different transportation, different locations, and also just make public speaking learning more accessible overall.
And I actually had a teacher tell me at our final meeting after finishing working with his class that what I did was so important because his kids didn't have those role models at home. They didn't know how to communicate and express themselves in a constructive way. And I think to me, that was almost more important than any of the, career or academic benefits that a student could get from improved communication skills. Just being able to live a happier, healthier life because you're better able to connect with the people around you. And I think you can't put value on that.
It's been such a fulfilling journey, and I think my takeaway from my time at SpeechDojo is just an abundance of gratitude. Gratitude to our teammates for coming together and working together to build this organization. Gratitude to our donors and supporters, of course, for giving us the resources, advice, and mentorship we need to build this organization. And most importantly, gratitude to our teachers, principals, and of course our students who've trusted us, led us into their classrooms, into their lives, and really enabled us to work together with them to co-create this incredible impact.
I don't know, I've worked for a couple of organizations, but nothing feels like SpeechDojo. I think the community and the culture built at SpeechDojo is unlike any other, and I guess that's what keeps us all together.
Follow SpeechDojo for more.